we have Formula Ford action to come, and it's going to be a pretty dicey thing out there this morning. The track is still wet. It's very, very dark outside here. And, of course, yesterday we saw, even in the dry, a couple of the front runners come to grief, including young Mark Noske here.
Sure did. Got it right up underneath, spinning out of the way, fortunately. Bit of damage to the Van Diemen there. Very intense sort of racing here. It was only a 4-lapper, but you can see through the steering wheel.
Watch this. Here's the last corner. You'd give it here to Stephen Richards in the Valvoline machine. Jason Bright gets mixed up, and the two of them finish short of the finishing line. I hope we don't have that this morning.
Intense stuff, and Jason Bright, he slid to a stop there, and he's only about 15 metres short of the finish line.
Well, here we have the cars on the circuit at the moment for this morning's support race for the Formula Fords. Time to take a look at the grid. Gavin Monahan in car number 2 starts out of pole position. Stephen Richards alongside. Jason Bright out of 3, so they've had a lot of work to do. Jason Bargwana starts out of 4, and Ashley Cutchy out of 5.
From position 6, car 4, Mark Noske's managed to get that car together today. From 7, car 13, Cameron Partington. From 8, 98, Tremaine Dickinson in the Van Diemen. From 9, car 15, Matthew Martin. And from 10, car 12, Leif Corbin.
So a full grid of Formula Fords this morning for the support race. Gavin Monahan there. Car number 2, the BP Visco machine.
Yeah, car's quite quick in qualifying. 2:26 from Stephen Richards, which leaves him about 14 seconds slower than the V8 touring cars around here, but it really is a power circuit. Quite impressive straight line speeds, though. I believe the radar caught them about 240, 250 k's down Conroy, which is pretty quick for a little car. Very
fast indeed. Well, they haven't wound up with the best track to start their support race on this morning. That's Cameron Partington, car number 13. We're just about set to go. Mark Noske and Greg Woodrow scratchings from this one. As we get them off the line, it's been fairly close coming up here with Stephen Richards trying to get to the front over Gavin Monahan, but Monahan will take the lead through there, and I think it was Bright that's up to second.
Looked like it as they swing through Hell Corner on the way up Mountain Straight for the first time. Very slippery conditions here. Already seen this morning a couple of the Group A cars run off the road. So these guys are going to take it very, very carefully. Do have on their side some fairly heavily grooved all-weather tyres, which may help slush the water away, but as we said, very dangerous conditions in Little Open Wheeler this morning.
Coming up to Repco Corner now, to the right, and then the climb up Motorcraft Hill towards the cutting. All through the first corners and up Holden Hill, okay. They've worked their way up the mountain now.
Huge field of cars, taking it very easily. They're just starting to carve half a dry line through the greasy parts of the circuit. An enormous field of Formula Fords as they wind up the hill for the first time. Gavin Monahan leads them over the hill. I think it's Jason Bargwana there in 3rd position. You can see them slipping and sliding. They try to get the power to the ground. Up through BP cutting, across the top of the mountain for the first time. It's Monahan, Richards, Jason Bright in 3rd, Jason Bargwana, and the pack. You can see how easily they're taking it across here, Mike.
Well, for good reason, Richard. With the track as wet as it is, I'd think it'd be a fairly daunting place in a touring car. In a Formula Ford, it would be scary.
It would. They do have the advantage of handling very well, and it's these sort of conditions that really sort out the men from the boys, the guys that can really handle these cars. It'll be interesting to see, we'll keep an eye on Stephen Richards and see whether or not he's inherited any of the family ability in that area.
Well, of course, Jimmy Richards' son, young Stephen, national champion this year. His Valvoline machine, he's done superbly well in the Formula Ford competition, and I think at this stage he'd just be stalking Gavin Monahan, looking to see if he can have a shot at Gavin on the straight. And here the exit to Tyre Power Corner now brings them back onto Conrod Straight. There's the gap. It's about 3 car lengths back to second place Stephen Richards, probably 4 or 5 then back to Jason Bright, who runs in 3rd.
Jason Bargwana there in 4th, running in the Reynard. Guy who ran here a few years ago in a Corolla, starting to pick up the pieces of his career again in Formula Ford. Not a bad place to start too if you want to continue the career in touring cars in this country. A lot of our current young guns have come from the Formula Ford category. Mark Larkin will join us next year, and Craig Lowndes in there, and Stephen Richards.
Good move there.
Yeah, very, very tidy.
Down on the inside there of Gavin Monahan on the approach to Caltex Chase.
It's raining again. The rain is pouring down in sheets here. Treacherous conditions for the Formula Ford boys, but they're doing it very tidily and very safely at this stage. Stephen Richards A nice move up the inside of Gavin Monahan through Caltex Chase. Just gets the wheels up on the ripple strip as they come across the start-finish line. So it's Monahan coming back on the inside. The rain hasn't dampened his enthusiasm for getting the lead. They're side by side as they come under brakes.
4 laps to go.
He's ahead of Richards here and just skates through. You can see the dry lines virtually vanish with this last downpour. Plenty of spray. Stephen Richards will be getting absolutely saturated in that car. Bucket loads of the stuff comes off the tyres. And there's one that's gone into the fence.
Can't pick the number up on that. I'm quite sure you at home can't as well. That's just off at Murray's Corner, so it's at the end of Conrod Straight, and I dare say he's turned the car, swapped ends on it, and there we have car number 29, the machine that wound up sideways down there.
It's Jason Hannigan.
Yeah. So he's out of the car, he's okay. It's on the edge of the sand trap. He's got the back wheels in, so it's not going anywhere there at the moment. So we pick up back on the leaders heading up Motorcraft Hill towards the cutting.
Look at them skating around all over the place. Stephen Richards, though, the dominant man in Formula Ford this season. 13 race wins out of a possible 16. Total dominance in the Valvoline car. You can see just the car snaking sideways a bit as he tries to get the power down. Only playing with about 110 or 115 horsepower here. And that does give you an indication of just how slippery it is out there this morning.
We all know how good Jimmy Richards is in the wet. So son Stephen has shown everyone here today he's a wet weather runner. Gavin Monahan has given it his best shot so far, but Stephen's been able to come back and answer that challenge every time.
Gavin Monahan, a former sports sedan racer, a guy who moved into Formula Ford this year with a brand new Van Diemen chassis. He was looking very good until we got to the Lakeside round where he speared it through the wall at the end of the straight, and from then his campaign really started to fall apart.
Yeah, Formula Ford racing really does bring out some of the top stars, apart from the fact that so many of them go on to Formula One. We've got Russell Ingall in the touring car race a little bit later, and 5 years ago here at Mount Panorama he was doing great things in a Formula Ford car.
Oh, we've got a few more out of shape there. Paratune car.
Well, that's on the exit to Repco Corner. A bit of slippery. The ideal thing is not to put a rear wheel on the ripple strip coming out of there. It'd be fairly shining, and he's reversed it back in.
Keith Forbes was involved in that too, car 39. He managed to stay out of trouble, but the other one there, the Williams lookalike, parked against the fence. But here is our race leader, Stephen Richards, opening up this typical gap we've seen all year. Flat to the boards down Conrod.
Let's check them out now on our Shell race score for you. Stephen Richards leading this race. Still the dice continues with Gavin Monahan, who runs in second. Jason Bright is third. Jason Bargwana fourth, and Ashley Cutchy is fifth. We'll be back at the mount in just a sec. That's the scene, the rain lashing the circuit and the fog rolling in as well. It is very, very wet indeed. But out there on the racetrack, this young man continues to drive away from the rest of the field. Stephen Richards from the Valvoline Formula Ford down into Caltex Chase.
Last time around, the gap was about 1.3 seconds over Gavin Monahan, and a further 5.2 seconds back to Jason Bright. So the field just opening up a bit, but it really is difficult driving in someone else's spray, isn't it, Richard?
It is. In these open wheelers, it's so difficult to actually see where you're going with the spray that these tyres chuck up behind them. I haven't seen conditions like this here since 2 years ago when the touring car race was stopped.
Yeah, it's really, really heavy rain.
2 laps to go. There's one that has wound up against the wall. It's out of harm's way on the inside, off the racing line. Coming by, 1 now to go. And I think that Stephen Richards would be counting it down. He'd be happy enough to put the Formula Ford away after this.
A young man heading for 2-litre touring car racing next year, I believe. So heading into the tin tops and following in his famous father's footsteps, no doubt. And a guy with a ton of potential. He really has shown a clean pair of heels to everyone else in Formula Ford this year.
There's the field behind out of the spray, and I think he's opened that up to probably about 200 metres or so. He's cleared out well from Gavin Monahan.
2.9 seconds as they came across the start-finish line that time, and Jason Bright slipped back to about 6 or 7 seconds now. So the field really opening up, and you can see Richard's car there just snaking under power. Very, very slippery.
Jason Bargwana, 1 spot back behind him as they make the run to BP Cutting. He runs in 4th, and 5th is Ashley Cutchy. Exit to BP and heading up the hill. There's Gavin Monahan still running in 2nd. Lap car in between them. Hugs to the inside as he goes to his turn. And as you said earlier, we've never had this whether to start a day at Mount Panorama. We've certainly had it during the course of the day, and as we all remember, a number of years very late in the day, but we're looking like a wet race, and it has certainly closed in.
I think 1972, you'd have to go back that far to have a wet race. It's a long, long time ago for a wet start, and indeed the cars have changed an enormous amount in that time.
Closing a little between the first two now. Richards didn't want to catch him back here. This is slowly down.
Yeah, you see if Gavin Monahan can capitalise on this little hill. He's certainly right on his tail now. They come down Forest Elbow for the final time. And Gavin Monahan closing right in now. He's only 2-3 car lengths behind Richards. As they come down the straight, this could be quite exciting as they come into Caltech Chase for the final run. Plenty of spray and water around here. As you can just see there, that's pretty much what the driver sees when the mist starts coming off these tyres.
You can see Gavin hanging to the outside here because at least he has a view.
So
coming down to he's run the full length of the straight there on the right hand side, but now with that plume coming off the tail of Stephen Richards' car, he'll be just happy for second here unless Richards goes astray in the last couple of corners.
So Stephen Richards leads them out again. Apparently one more lap to go, so Gavin Monahan has another 6.2 kilometres in which to see if he can do something about this lead.
Come to the bottom corner. Coming out of the turn with Stephen Richards. Monahan has closed up right behind him and now makes a swing to the outside. Oh, now back to the inside. So he's putting plenty of pressure on Stephen Richards. Falls in behind as they go to the left-hander at Ford Care Corner. And now they work their way up Holden Hill. Oops, too often the chase. They've slid along there. One rejoining the field, you can see.
Bit of damage there. Is that that's Matthew Martin?
So Matthew was propped. He's going no further. And meanwhile, the scrap continues between Stephen Richards and Gavin Monahan.
It's like a skating rink out there. It sure does, Mike.
Monahan's got the lie for this turn and forces Richards to give way to him, so he is a fighter.
Very good move under brakes, that, and really is credit to these guys. They're not being intimidated by these conditions at all. They're going hammer and tongs. The track just gets wetter and wetter. So Gavin Monahan leaves Stephen Richards around for the last time. They've got a slower car up here. They're going to have to pick their way through. The car twitches under brakes. Look at the amount of rain up there.
Oh,
the guy is in the lap car has hung across to the left-hand side of the circuit and waved both through for them to continue their race.
Well, how could you ever pick this weather with New South Wales 82% of the state in drought, El Nino effect in full effect, and we get an absolute deluge on the first Sunday of 1994. Incredible weather.
Coming up here this week through bushfires near the Blue Mountains and then through snow just outside Bathurst to arrive here today.
See that.
So we've had everything this week.
Gavin Monahan just hanging on to that through one of the fastest parts of the track.
the pair of them right on the limit at the moment.
Question is Gavin trying too hard here? Richards had a go that his car is very taily, Richards.
You can see the amount of understeer on Gavin's car there, almost going straight ahead as he came for the dipper. Oh, the car twitching and sliding.
Now watch it through here, Forest Elbow. It's type-out turn, dives in, hugs the low side. There he is coming out now, and there's Richards behind him. So Monahan, with that move, a lap from home, I think has got victory here today. I don't think Richards can come back.
Look at the rain just pouring down here. Gavin Monahan picks his way through the spray. He's got a slower car up ahead of him. He's pulled right over to the left. And Monahan's passed. Final time through Caltech's Chase. And these guys, I reckon, will be glad to see this race over.
Yellow flags being waved there because of the incident on the previous lap.
So Stephen Richards in second place. Car one, looking for Monahan. And
back behind them, Jason Bright and Jason Bargwana. They round out the four. But the last corner is coming up as they swing through here. Stephen Richards trailing in behind wherever Gavin Monahan got to.
I don't know where Gavin Monahan has disappeared to. He vanished off screen just as they came into Caltech's chase, and there's no sign of him.
Well, according to the race score, Stephen Richards given the win over Gavin Monahan, Jason Bright and Jason Bargwana, with Dickinson rounding out the 5.
He must have come off down at the chase there.
Well, he's had an off, able to regather, but there are the finishing positions according to the Shell race score. The win going to Stephen Richards, second place to Gavin Monahan, third to Jason Bright, Jason Bargwana fourth, and Tremaine Dickinson rounds out the 5.